Welcome to the invigorating home of Euros coverage. Every day we will sit here on this channel and we will talk about the results that have come through. I already talked about the Spain match specifically today, so I'm going to kind of leave that one alone again because, and this is important, it's an incredibly embarrassing result for me because I absolutely thought Croatia was going to be able to win that game against Spain, so my predictions are already off to an incredibly hot start, which does beg the question, why are you listening to me? But basically, I have an answer for you. If you predict the exact opposite of what I predict is going to happen, then you will be right. And so there is some value in listening to this daily Euros rewind. We didn't do one after the first day, Scotland and Germany. It's somewhat refreshing to me to be able to see a match and it play out the way that it's kind of supposed to play out given the names of the teams. I love to read between the lines. I love to read the tea leaves. I love to look into the background and talk about system and philosophy and personnel. But sometimes you just see the German shirt and the Scottish shirt, right? Unless it's 1895, right? The German shirt, that team's just supposed to win. And Germany showed up in their home World Cup, their home Euros, and they delivered the goods. They delivered the goods. They're more talented than Scotland. They're always more talented than Scotland. I don't know if there will ever be a point anywhere in the future where Germany's less talented than Scotland. They showed up with more of an idea of what they were going to do to try and go win the game. They showed up with a country behind them. Unlike other host nations, England, right? Germany has this really invigorating faith and belief that they're actually going to be able to succeed here. And that, I mean, Julian Gressel, who's become a friend of mine as we've done this podcast, the Player Manager podcast, which if you haven't listened to it, it's cool. Julian Gressel plays for Inter Miami. He was born in Germany, played for the U.S. national team after he moved to the U.S. and played in the MLS his whole career. Anyways, he being born in Germany, he was talking about he was watching the German anthem before the Euros, and he almost had a tear in his eye, right? Because there was so much passion and so much the country trying to come together and all this and all this and that. And Germany really kind of needed this one, but they believed that their national team was good enough to get it done. And my God, they were. Right? Look, if my prediction about Spain and Croatia was wrong, I said that Germany was probably the third best team in this tournament, and they played like it. I put France and England above them, so when England goes out and loses to 11 men from the Faroe Islands or something, whatever is going to happen in the rest of this Euros, then I'll look like an idiot again. But right now, looking pretty smart. The not so smart part is I thought Germany's group was going to be competitive, and I didn't want it to be an indictment of Germany if they had to scrap to get out of their group. Well, it looks like they're not going to have to scrap. All right, Scotland just didn't show up. Scotland needs to find a way to get a seminal win at a major tournament because they did a way better job of getting to this Euros than they did getting to the last one. And now they've been in consecutive Euros. It's not good enough anymore to just show up, right? You're not Albania. You're not Georgia. You've made consecutive European championships. Act like it. And they didn't. They didn't act like it. They didn't play like it. They got completely outclassed and outgunned. But look, that game is not entirely an indictment. The other two games, right, against Switzerland and against Hungary are going to be a much bigger sign for Scotland. But they're going to have to get a win in one of those two games, and it's not going to be easy. And speaking of Switzerland and Hungary, that match went through. Obviously, there was a very important meme that came from this match. I found a picture of the meme here. It's this guy, I believe his name's Laszlo Adam, or it's something Adam. He actually plays in the South Korean League, which for me somehow makes this funnier. But a proper number 9 coming in for Hungary. Unfortunately, that dude did not do a lot to help because Hungary ended up losing 3-1 to Switzerland. And Switzerland is just a perpetually disrespected national team. I think that's very clear at this point. I am a part of the problem here because even I was looking at the Swiss national team now and saying, well, I had this golden generation of basically a decade where they were able to make the knockouts of basically every tournament. They're in the quarterfinals of the last Euros. They've been to the World Cup knockouts, I think, 5 straight times. I mean, just a really, really consistently good team. But I looked at this group and I was thinking, you know what? Switzerland kind of aged out. This is going to be a tougher group for them. And I definitely was not thinking Switzerland. But Switzerland manages to continue to beat everybody they're supposed to beat. It is remarkable. And I'll go ahead and hand them their flowers right now. They beat everybody that they are supposed to beat. Everybody. They show up. This Hungarian team won their Euros qualifying group. I realize that this Hungarian national team has a lot of names like that Adam guy where people don't really know who they are. But the talent level of the team is clearly there, right? They're able to perform at a higher level than some of the team. I mean, look at what Hungary was able to do. I don't know if it's just he's grabbing some food. But Hungary's a real capable team, a team that people could have looked at and said was a dark horse. We know that it's a national team that over the last decade has become very comfortable with competing against the really big teams, right? They absolutely dusted it up in that group of death at the previous Euros. And Switzerland just dispatched them. Early goal, late goal, goal in the middle. I mean, just perfect array, control of the match, the better team throughout the match. As a national team in Switzerland that just never seems to produce the star players. Maybe Manuel Akanji is probably the close they've got, a guy that plays regularly at Manchester City, but a national team that we all overlook. And I pride myself on being the type of person that doesn't overlook national teams like that, and I still overlook Switzerland. So this is a really impressive win. Hungary and Scotland are going to be playing for third, it seems like, because I would imagine Switzerland's going to show up and do the same thing to Scotland. Because I was really not impressed with what Scotland did so far. Then there was the Dream Weaver, the Dream Chaser, Albania 25 seconds in. Albania got the group of death. They know it. It's like that what was it, Slavia Prague or Sparta Prague, I think it was, when they were at the Champions League draw and they ended up in a group with PSG, Barcelona, and some other massive club, and they were just sitting there laughing. That was Albania getting Croatia, Italy, and Spain, right? Everybody knew Albania was coming into this with absolutely no hope until we didn't. Until Albania scored the fastest goal in Euros history. And then everybody all of a sudden was a dreamer and a Dua Lipa fan and believed that this was going to happen. But Italy, to its credit, did exactly what it needed to do over the next 16 minutes. The first goal for Italy, if you were able to see it, I obviously can't show it, was absolutely beautiful. It looked like an ultimate team goal from FIFA where they play a short corner and then they knock it back and forth 3 times and hit a back post cross and just walk the ball in. Was absolutely gorgeous. And the Italian national team was obviously better. It would be a huge problem for Italy if they were not better. But all you hope for a team like Albania is that they get the 10 minutes that they had in this game, right? Because Albania is not showing up at the Euros. I mean, obviously they're trying to win, but they're not going to win, right? The odds of Albania being able to get enough breaks to go their way to actually win the entire tournament are very low, right? This is Albania's second ever Euros. And what you're hoping for as a fan of Albania, as somebody who is Albanian, right, is for you to get 10 minutes where you're leading against Italy, right? You can almost write off the rest of the tournament. Now, Albania will try to get a point, maybe even a win against Spain, and Croatia doesn't look as good as people thought that they were, right? So maybe you can go after them and try and take a point off them. But if we're being realistic, this was probably Albania's moment in the sun, but they got their moment in the sun. They got a goal, right? Because it's very easy to go through a tournament like this playing 3 amazing teams and not get a goal, right? They got a goal, they had the lead, and they had their magic moment where for 10 minutes, everybody was talking about Albania as well. And everybody's, oh, you see what Albania has been able to do? This is crazy. Look at this. That is wild. But then on the flip side, Italy gets the 3 points that are absolutely necessary for its survival in this group. Where are you going, bud? So it's almost the best of both worlds. I mean, obviously, Albania would have loved to have won. A win for anybody makes it really hard to not go through to the next round, because even if you finish in third, it's going to be tricky. Yeah, 3 points when you're in third place, unless your goal difference is terrible, is usually enough to kind of send you through. But Albania is apparently not going to be an easy out, right? Certainly not as easy an out as Scotland, who is going to have a reckoning in match day 2. And that match is Scotland-Switzerland, so they better show up real quick, or it's going to be the old 0 point to the final match day against Hungary. Albania's next match is against Croatia, which, based off of performances in the previous match against Spain, that's going to be Albania's best shot. And if Croatia really is not nearly as good as certain people thought that they were, they're not going to win that game. Because Albania is going to be emboldened by Croatia's loss and Albania's solid performance against Italy. Because if Albania manages a draw, right, then it will all come down to the final day. And Albania will just need to lose by less than Croatia. Like, it is, Albania doesn't need a dominant win here now to be able to get through to the next round. They can smell the possibilities. Actually, no, then they would only have 1 point, and even if they lost, they'd be on 1 point in third. It's not about finishing third. It's about being one of the top 4 teams in third. So they probably need to win this game, because they're not going to beat Spain. Croatia wasn't going to beat Spain. Maybe if Albania doesn't flop, they have a chance.